welcome back to the Pittsburgh Sports Saviors. It is Friday night, November 15th, about 7:55 p.m. Lee, it's Steelers Ravens week. I figure let's just get right into it. You ready for some Steelers Ravens?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
And I also got Mike Tomlin. Let's hear what he has to say about this game. He's ready as well. Let's go right into Tomlin.
Now, obviously, on to Baltimore. It's really cool to be in these games. Not because it's them, but because they're a good team. This time of year, you want to be leaning in on five-star matchups and being a component of it. You're in five-star matchups not only because of the quality of people that you're playing, but also what you've done. And we respect that component of it, and we're excited about that component of it. And we just want to continue to sharpen our sword for these battles, to find a way to prepare ourselves and put our best foot forward and find a way to win and search for more. And so for this week, we acknowledge, man, Baltimore is a really good team. And historically, we've had some awesome matchups, man. There's always AFC North ramifications, and I just respect this rivalry. I think one of the awesome components of this rivalry is the continuity in the organizations, man. I've been on my job a long time. Harbs has been on his job a long time. And I think that adds a texture and history to it. And so that's something that is an honor to be a part of. And
so yeah, that's up there. He's right on not only Harbaugh and him, but even if you go back before that, you had Billick and Cowher. These have been two teams that have had steady head coaching for the last few years, have had pretty solid quarterback play once they figured themselves out during these stretches too. I think that is a good point. A lot of the time it's talk about the defense and stuff like that, but good with Harbaugh and Tomlin that you can put your names on as guys that have been around for a long time. Any thoughts on what he's got saying so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's great to see the longevity of the coaches, especially with this rivalry. I mean, it seems like you said, this is since how Bill Cowher and Billick have gone back early 2000s. I think this rivalry has kind of started. It's been probably the best rivalry in football so far, and like you said, it's definitely a five-star matchup when you put yourself in the competition of being an elite team during the season, being able to play at a high level and things like that. And so, it's just one of those, rivalries, one of those games that you always want to watch on prime time. It's disappointing it's not going to be prime time this game, but it's definitely going to be a good game for sure. And it's always a battle between these two. I mean, these two teams hate each other, and it's just going to be a really good game. But it's great to just see, you have that rivalry with those past coaches, and now you have the same one now with Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh right now. And, them two are the longest, tenured coaches right now in the league right now. So it's just a great little battle between these two.
Yeah, there's always been comparisons between the two teams, success that both two teams have had. It always is a fun matchup. We in the past, we've talked about it. We've drafted players before. But before we go too much further, I'm being distracted by Tomlin's head in this. Is it different? Is it just clean shaven? What is going on with me? Not even Tomlin that makes him look different in this video today.
I think it's because we're so used to him wearing a hat all the time.
That's it. Yeah.
I think that's what it is, and it's a little. It is. Don't get me wrong. It's a little distracting, to be honest,
because he's been bald for a while. But I was watching this, what is going? Why am I staring at him? And you're right. So he usually has a hat on. I'm an asshole.
That's what it is. He's always wearing a hat, and so we're just not used to him all clean shaved, button up. Without a hat on, with his glasses on his collar like that. So I think it's the hat. He must have
been. This was Tuesday afternoon. He must have had something going on Tuesday night.
Maybe he had a
ready
date.
to go.
Yeah.
Let me finish on what he has to say here.
Yeah.
We're just simply writing the latest chapter this week with some new faces for us and new faces for them as well. Guys get an opportunity to be a component of this thing, and even some guys flipping sides, guys like Patrick Queen and Moon being on this side of it, just like Arthur Millette a year or so ago, moving to their side of it. But I just think that that's a component of it, man, this intimacy in this relationship. we're highly familiar with their players. They're highly familiar with ours. And when you have that level of familiarity, sometimes guys play on both sides. I think Chris Wormley, for example, is back on their practice squad last time I checked. And so excited about it. I'll start first with their offense.
Pause it right there. Let him talk about that in a second. I think that's another cool point is we got a Patrick Queen return game for them. We got Deontay Johnson on their side. He didn't mention him specifically there, but yeah, a lot of little interesting tidbits that add to this rivalry this year. I think it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out, if anyone gets to get their revenge on their former team or anything like that. Who do you expect between the two of Deontay Johnson and Patrick Queen to make a bigger impact? That's a pretty bullshit question for me.
I mean, I really want to see Patrick Queen, have the better game for sure with him being on our side. But I think a lot of, the fans booing Deontay Johnson and the media booing Deontay Johnson when he was on the team, I think he probably has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder coming back to play against us. And so, it doesn't seem like he was happy with that trade to go to Carolina. It looked like he was trying to get out of there as quick as he could. And he got out of there. It looks like the first chance he got, going to the Ravens. So it'll be interesting to see, them two playing, their opposite teams for sure this year.
Yeah, with Johnson, he hasn't done much since he's gone to Baltimore. So, of course, I'm going to jinx it. And he's going to end up with 10 catches for 100 yards. Let's just talk about the rest of this Ravens offense. Let Tomlin go, and then we'll go what we think.
Yeah. And I'll start first with their offense. Mr. Jackson, obviously, is at the sticks. He's a challenge. He's a challenge in all circumstances. He's doing a really nice job of spreading the ball around to a variety of people. His tight end tandem is special. Obviously, he and Mark Andrews have had a relationship. They're in the same draft class, and so we watched those guys grow together from afar. But I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Likely, man, and his development over the last couple of years and his playmaking ability. He caught a big touchdown on us in the red zone as a rookie a couple of years ago. And he's done nothing but advance in terms of his skill set and finding his place in this thing. Zay Flowers is spectacular at wideout, obviously. I'm really familiar with Zay, man. I saw just about every game he played his last year in college because my son was on his team, and, man, his talents are special. His ability to separate, his run after, his competitive spirit, his general playmaking. He can make plays in a lot of ways, and they distribute the ball to him in a lot of ways. Like what I've seen from Bateman, man, he's been down the grass, been a backside matchup guy, made a lot of plays for him. But they got Aguilar, man, they got a deep group. They picked up Deontay. And so Mr. Jackson's got a lot of people to throw to.
Yeah, so stop on that when they're talking about the passing game there. Yeah, he doesn't have that elite number one guy yet, but he's got a lot of weapons now to go with his ability to run. I think that this is one of the best seasons we've seen from Lamar. They're the number one scoring offense so far, and he's about to go into the rushing, so I don't want to get hit on that yet. But, yeah, they got a lot of weapons going for them right now. I think this offense is coming in pretty hot too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, from what I've seen from the games and highlights of Lamar Jackson, I mean, he's been outstanding passing the ball and, down the field. And like you said, there's not a number one, but there's definitely weapons. He's got all over the field, especially with the tight end, Mark Andrews. I mean, he's not having the greatest season, but he definitely had a good game this past game.
He's turning on a little bit. Yeah, the beginning of this year was really shaky. Likely, like Tomlin mentioned, had stepped up, but yeah, you're right. But I think he's turning it around too.
Yeah, and so it's going to be tough for our defense to just cover these guys, because you got guys all over the field that he can pass the ball to, and and then if they decide to go to their RPO option, I mean, it's going to be tough, whatever their offense is going to be. But yeah, it's been one of the best offenses I've seen so far this season, by this Ravens team.
Yeah, and Tomlin's about to break down this rushing offense here too.
In terms of the running game, man, that's handled by the two guys that are handling it. We got to deal with the big runner and work to minimize his impact on the game in a couple of ways specifically. Not only is he capable of wearing you down over the course of the game because he's a big man and the attrition component of it, but he's also a home run hitter with track speed. And so you got to deal with the wear and tear component of his approach to play. But a bomb can also go off anytime he touches it. He can go 80. And he needs no endorsement from me in that regard to this 2024 video that confirms that. And so we got to be on guard in regards to the run game all day. It's not in any particular moment. It's all day because of his skills and obviously because of the skills of Mr. Jackson. And so excited about the challenge. We faced a significant challenge a week ago, not trying to compare the two, just acknowledging that we face another hot offense with a multi-dimensional quarterback and a really good running game and an offense that's ringing up the scoreboard. And so if I know anything about our group, that fires them up. But it fires them up in the appropriate way. I expect them to be singularly focused on prep. I expect to see a group that's really locked in every prep environment, whether it's classroom or walkthrough or practice. And usually when we do that, we'll position ourselves to be what we desire to be. But there's a lot of moments between now and game time, and I'm really excited about doing it with them. On the
so there we go. There, I think that this is a big thing. We all know how the success that the Steelers have had against the Ravens, and keeping Lamar in check. I am very concerned. I will even go how Derrick Henry changes this dynamic. Because they've always had good running backs, but they have not had Derrick Henry in these matchups. Mm-hmm. I'm curious to see how his placement in this affects the way that the Steelers are going to be trying to defend Lamar in general.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Derrick Henry is one of the best running backs in the game right now. He's very talented, and once he gets in the open field, it's going to be hard to try to tackle him and get him down. I mean, even him trying to just get through, he's a big guy. He's got a lot of muscle, and it's going to be tough for the Steelers, run defense to stop him. And mixing them two together is just going to be, I think it's going to be a scary problem that the Steelers are going to have to face. Something we've never seen for sure when you have two great running players on the same team, whether it's just a running back, but now you have a quarterback that can also just do a little bit of everything on the field. I mean, compare him to Mike Vick, and it's just it's going to be scary for this defense. It's definitely going to be the biggest challenge so far for this defense, what we've seen by an offense so far. And I mean, they bring a lot of issues to the field with us trying to stop them. So it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough running, trying to stop their run and things like that. We have Lamar's number, but do we really have Derrick Henry's number? That's the other thing, so it's going to be tough to try to stop them both at the same time.
Yeah, and I mean, they're having two almost historically great seasons. Derrick Henry's at 1,120 yards already, 12 TDs. Lamar Jackson, 2,669 yards passing, 24 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Wow.
That ratio is insane from him there. And that doesn't even take into play his rushing, which he's at 538 yards rushing already this year.
Wow.
So the two of them are over 1,500 yards rushing. We just hit the halfway point. They have played 10 games.
Yeah.
They haven't had their bye yet, but still, those numbers are very impressive for them.
Mm-hmm.
The Steelers are home this week, and they're still an underdog. They're getting 3 points on the spread, and the over-under right now is 48.5. I feel good about the Steelers at home. I feel good about the Steelers in general, the way they're playing right now. They're playing a team that's on a roll as well. Both teams are 4-1 in the last 5. I think this one's a tough one to guess. What is your prediction for this game?
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. And just by the way the Steelers have been scoring, I have a feeling that this might be a little bit higher scoring game. I mean, they've been putting up at least 30 points in the past 3 games, I think, with Russell Wilson in there. And I think that it's going to be high scoring. I think the defenses are going to kind of not be able to stop as much as we want to see them to stop, offenses, especially with the Ravens offense. But I do foresee this maybe even being as high as that last Thursday night game with the Ravens and Bengals, up there in the 35 kind of game. I could see this easily going to like a I don't know, a 42 to 38
Wow.
game. I could really see it happening.
Yeah, I'm the other way. I still think it's Steelers Ravens, and I give some credence to that. I think it will be a little lower scoring than that. I'm thinking more in the 20s. And I think the Steelers find a way to win this one. I'll go with a 25 to 21 final. I don't know how we're getting to 25, but the Steelers are going to score 25 points this game.
Yeah.
Win this game 25 to 21. Who do you got as the MVP in this game?
I'm going to go Russell Wilson. I think he's going to have one of his better games this, during his starts. He's just going to be immaculate and come out and, continue to show everybody that he's still an elite quarterback and they can still play in this game, and that he's going to shut up a lot more doubters. I mean, I know that it seems like a lot of people are starting to get on that train, like, okay, Russell Wilson can still play, but I think he's going to shut up the all the critics and stuff this next game here on Sunday.
Yeah, I like it. I'm gonna go. I don't think the running game is gonna play much of a role for the Steelers. Just historically, they haven't ran the ball well against the Ravens. This year may be different because the Ravens defense has been a little more suspect. But I'm going to go defensively. And how about let's throw a name out there that's fun. We'll go Patrick Queen. He'll end up being the MVP with his former team.
All right.
Because why not make some bullshit up on my end?
Yeah.
So that's it. Just put it on a record, 25-21 Steelers for me. What was your specific number?
Yeah, I'm going to go 42-38 Steelers over the Ravens.
Okay. That's our Steelers-Ravens preview. Lee, I'm going to bring you to a new fun game I've thought up for you. I don't know how much fun it's going to be for you, but I'm calling it Steelers perception versus reality.
All right.
This is how it's going to work. I'm going to give you a number. I'm going to give you a stat category. I'm going to give you a ranking, and you're going to have to tell me whether you think the Steelers ranking is higher or lower than the ranking that I give you. When I say higher, I mean like 1 is the highest. So if I give you if I give you the number 10 and you think that their ranking will be higher, then you would give me if you think the ranking would be like 1 through 9, that's a higher. Just to explain the game there. So I'm going to go through a bunch of categories for the Steelers. We're going to start with a simple one here. Yards per game for the offense. And I'm going to give you 16 right at the halfway point. Do you think the Steelers' offense is ranked higher or lower than that?
I'm going to go higher. I think that they are putting up a little bit better numbers than they did last year in the running game. So I'm going to go higher.
So, yeah, they have been better than last year, but that is lower. They're 18th in the league, 326.3 yards per game, which is better than last season, but still with all that, their offense yards per game is still under the league average. But now let's change it up again here and go with the next is points per game for the team. And this time I'm going to give you the number of 10.
I'm going to go I want to say they definitely improved since last season, and I want to say higher this time, but I'm going to go lower than 10 because I don't think they're up there yet.
Good call. 12th overall. They're at 23.9 points per game, which is definitely an improvement over the last couple years for sure. And I think it's going to keep going in the right direction here as we go through the season. You got them at 42 points this next game. And then another big thing for you was let's go defensive on those two same sets. What do you think the opponents – I'm going to give you 10 again for opponents' yards per game. What do you think the Steelers are?
Like their total yards per game?
On defense, yeah.
On defense?
So giving up. So number 1 is the best defense. 32 is the worst. I'll give you 10 as an over-under number.
I'm going to go higher. I think they're higher than 10.
You're right. Number 8 in the league. Okay. They're where are we at here? That's 302 yards per game right now.
Okay.
Which is what you would expect. Bend but don't break. They've been. They're not even bending that much. If you're ranked 8th overall, I think that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
What do you think about the opponent's points per game? I'm going to give you the number of 4.
I'm going to go lower than 4.
Higher. Number
Higher.
2 defensive points per game in the league.
Wow.
Scoring defense, 16.2 points per game is
Okay.
where they're at right
All
now.
right. Wow.
So
Okay.
the point margin there is 7. Yeah, it's 7.7, which is funny.
Wow.
So they're plus 7.7 the points per game margin.
Wow.
So
Okay.
the reason I want to do that is I know you have been big on this thing here is whether the Steelers are a first half team or a second half team. So what do you think? I'm going to give you the number of 20 for points per game as an offense in the first half of games. I'll give you the number 20.
Oh, definitely lower. Definitely lower.
They're 24th at 8.9 points per game.
Wow. Yeah.
So you're right on the money there. Now, points per game in the second half, this is offense still. I'm going to give you 10.
I want to say they're at 10. That's what I want to say.
They are third in points per game in the second half.
Wow. Okay.
They're averaging 8.9 in the first half and 15 points per game in the second half. So almost double scoring wise in the second half compared to the first half. So that's third overall. And now let's see defensively. I got them somewhere on this page. Here we go. I got it here. For the first half, I'm going to give you a number of 10.
Defensively, where they rank?
Yeah.
Higher than 10.
I'm going to trick you. It is 10 because you did the last.
Okay. All right.
But they are 10th, and that's 10.1 points per game there in the first half. And then what do you think in the second half? I'm going to give you a number of 3.
Lower.
Higher.
Wow.
They're the number 1 scoring defense in the second half.
Wow. Okay.
So the numbers have right there. The perception is reality.
Yeah.
What we have seen is this team is a second half team. They're averaging 15 points per game in the second half. They're giving up 6.1 points per game in the second half.
Wow.
That's a almost 9-point difference in just a half of football. So that's 18 points if you extrapolate it the whole game.
Yeah.
They have been awesome in the second half. We both saw that coming.
Yeah.
Let's go into rushing. First, we'll start with rushing on the offensive side of the ball. I'll give you a number of 10. What do you think they are, higher or lower than 10?
Lower.
Higher. They're 8th in the league in rushing. Fields, you got to remember, Fields is the starter for a while.
Yeah,
so,
all right.
And then the way that Najee's been playing lately, that's 138.3 yards per game. Now, how about rushing defense? This one, I'm going to give you a number of 7.
Higher.
Yep, they're ranked 4th in rushing defense at 87.1 yards per game. Now let's go passing wise. This number is surprising to me too. I'm going to give you 25.
Higher.
They're lower. They're 26th in passing, 188 yards per game so far.
Wow.
Like I said again, you got to remember Justin Fields was the quarterback for a long time.
Yeah.
Opponent's defense, I'm going to give you the number of 18.
I'm going to go higher there.
They're lower again there. They're at 19, 215 yards per game. So their offense is, or the defense has been much better against the run than I think I perceive. If you would ask me, they would have had a better passing defense than rushing defense so far this year. That's wrong. It's not the case. They've had a better rushing defense than anything else. So here's one that I was very shocked by. Sacks given up per game. So how many times Wilson or Fields have been sacked? Where do you think they're ranking that?
I'm
going to give you. I'll give you 15.
They're definitely higher than that.
They're lower, 20th. They've been sacked. So the least amount of the most.
Yeah. I got it. Sorry, I meant to say. Okay.
Yeah. So they've been sacked 2.7 times per game. Wow. So now, defensively, it's the opposite. You want to have more than less.
Yeah.
Number 1 will be the most sacks.
Yeah.
I'll give you 16 again for the defense. What do you think they're ranked?
They're lower because they haven't gotten as many.
Yep, they're 18th.
Wow.
2.4 sacks per game. So they're giving up more sacks than they're taking. Yeah. I would have not thought that. I know the numbers have been down, but the Steelers are known for the way they've been able to attack quarterbacks, and they have not done so far this year. 2.7 on offense, giving up 2.4 sacks on defense.
Wow.
Those are a couple of numbers I was really shocked to see.
Yeah.
Okay, now, do you want to go turnover margin or do you want to go penalties first? Your favorite category? I think we finished with your penalties.
Let's save penalties for last. Yeah. Let's do turnover margin.
The turnover margin, where do you think they rank? I'm going to give you a number of 10.
I'm going to say higher.
Yep, they're higher. They're number 2.
Wow.
And I want to say it was like +1 per game. So we're at 9 games, so they're +9 overall in turnover
Wow. Okay.
margin. So they're the second best team in the league.
Yeah.
And now your favorite category,
Uh,
penalties.
uh,
I'm going to give you penalties per game. So the amount of penalties, not the yardage, not the penalties per game. Where do you think you're ranked? This is the least penalties is the best. So the least penalized team is number 1. Most is 32.
Yeah.
Where do you think the Steelers are ranked? I'm going to give you a number of 20.
I'm gonna go higher.
Yep, they're at 16 at 6.3 per game. So they're right at the middle of the league there. How about yardage? I'll go with 15 as the cutoff point. And I'll go 16 because that's what they were in penalties per game. Go 16.
I'll stay at 16 again.
So that means low, right at the money now. They're 14th in yards.
Okay.
So they've given up 49 penalty yards. This one is insane, though. Ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a number of 30
Oh.
penalties that lead to first downs.
Oh. I was gonna say lower.
Yep, they're 32nd, last in the league. They give up the most first down penalties and the entire penalties that lead to first downs at 2.7 first downs per game.
Oh
So
my God.
that number, the first two are lower than we would expect.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the perception that is
Yeah.
based off the reality of that last number, that 2.7. We're so used to seeing how many first downs they're given that makes us think they have these huge penalty problem in general. But no, that's not really the case. They're middle of the pack. But when it comes to first downs, they are the worst team in the league. It's one of the crazier things I've seen.
Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah.
But that's my game for this week, Lee.
Sounds good.
The perception versus
enjoyed it.
reality.
Yeah,
I think you
enjoyed
did.
it. We'll have to do it again.
I think you were right on a lot of those. I think you had a good percentage there. I don't got much else for you. It's Ravens week. We'll be back Sunday after the game to talk about everything that goes on. I think we're going to get a good game. Hopefully some fun for us, right?
Yep, sounds good. I can't wait. I'm excited.
Yep, I'll see you, man.
I'll see you.
Have a good night.